When neighborhoods in southeast San Diego flooded, we were here talking to residents as they tried to figure out what to do next. In those early days, I met a man named Eric Aguilera who owned a construction company and specialized in flood damage and restoration. He let us come along to see how professionals assess the damage from flooding and get a better understanding of just how financially devastating this situation was. All these months later, we're following through with him to find out how he was able to help multiple families eventually get back in their homes and how the floods inspired him to start his own nonprofit.
100% of the units, so 24 units, were all flooded. Water hit about 2 to 3 feet, but category 4 water, so we had to go 2 feet above. So pretty much we had 4-foot flood cuts throughout every single unit.
Eric Aguilera explains the work that had to be done to get people back into these lower apartments in a complex on Delta Street in southeast San Diego after flooding back on January 22nd forced them out. The job was no easy undertaking, and in addition to Aguilera's staff at Bold Bills, were some extra hands.
We worked with the homework program, so it's incarcerated individuals that actually came out, and they're, the ones that tore out a lot of the stuff that you see here. They took all the furniture out. I mean, it was a lot of work.
What this does, it tells us where the water reached, right?
I first met Aguilera just 3 days after the flood. I walked with him through houses on Beta Street where virtually every home had been severely damaged by floodwaters. I saw how people like him who specialize in flood restoration assess the damage.
It's really tough to say, but something like this, upwards of 6 figures.
A few weeks after that, Aguilera got a call from the owners of the building on Delta Street.
As they heard, what we were doing on Beta Street, they reached out and said, hey, do you have any volunteers that can come help at least empty out the properties? So then we ended up coming out here.
He says his bid for the job came in well under other companies, and he promised to do it in 8 weeks. Almost overnight, Aguilera's business grew from 6 employees to more than 40.
We completed approximately 60 apartments and maybe 15 houses just due to the January 22nd floods. Believe it or not, it was a blessing and a curse, right? It was super stressful. My sister ended up in the hospital over this. It was a difficult time, but it was a blessing for my family also. Our company's grown, we've expanded, we have 3 businesses now, all specializing in floods and flood mitigation.
What is it like to know that you're able to get somebody back into their home, out of a hotel that's, a temporary fix and starting to rebuild their life?
This was by far like the most rewarding project I've ever done. Just hearing the stories, I mean, it was devastating, and that's really what made me want to help.
In the days and weeks after the floods, Aguilera started working with other volunteers to organize food donations to provide meals for families who had nothing and nowhere to go. The work inspired him to start a nonprofit called RISE, Resilience, Innovation, Support for Everyone.
Currently, where we are right now, we're still doing feedings for local families once a month. But long-term goals is to do low-income to moderate-income housing and kind of improve the situation there because housing's just been out of control.
The nonprofit is still in its early stages, but Aguilera is hoping it'll continue to grow.
I think I just saw people in need and, did what I could to try to help.
You can find an extended version of my conversation with Aguilera as he walked us through the units and other parts of the property in this story on 10news.com. Plus, we have links to our previous coverage showing you that we have been following through every step of the way.